Guys, I love my stylish moderator chair.
Yeah, nice.
Look at this big crowd. This is delightful. I heard them talking about voice services just as we were about to come on, so I feel like we're in good hands. I'm Molly Wood. I'm from Marketplace Business News. You may have heard us on public radio. And I'm going to let these two gentlemen introduce themselves so that you can put the face to the name, and then we'll get started with our conversation. Stuart, go ahead.
Beautiful. I'm Stuart Lombard. I'm one of the founders and the CEO of ecobee. We make Wi-Fi connected thermostats, and we're going to talk about our whole home voice vision today, which is also very exciting.
Hi everyone, my name's Steve Rebuchin. Been at Amazon 13 years. I'm currently the Vice President of Alexa.
All right, we're going to talk loud because I know there's a lot of hubbub. Hopefully you can hear us. Just like give a wave or a shout if you cannot. And I know that we're going to just start with the headline at the top. You may have already seen some quite glowing reviews of your new product, but what have you announced today?
Yeah, very exciting. So today we announced our vision for whole home voice. And that vision is really around a home where you can walk into any room in your home and you can say something casually and get access to all those great internet services that you love. And it's a home that, understands what you want and anticipates what you want and just makes your life simpler and better so you can focus on the things that really matter to you, which is your family, your friends, and the moments that you share in your home. And so today we announced two products. The first one is ecobee 4. And ecobee 4 is awesome because it has all of the great features of ecobee 3. It comes with room sensors, so it makes it comfortable in the rooms that you actually use.
We should tell people here if they don't know, it's a thermostat.
It's a thermostat, sorry, pardon me. It's a thermostat. It's a Wi-Fi connected thermostat. It'll save you money. It'll keep you comfortable. It has room sensors, so we know which rooms you're in and we make it comfortable in the rooms that you actually are in. But what's new and what's really exciting is for the same price, for that same $249 price, you now get Alexa built in. And so you can stand across the room and you can say, Alexa, play my music, or turn up the temperature, or turn off the lights, or whatever the case might be. Remind my kids to take out the garbage, which I always do, and it'll do it for you. And in addition to that, because you don't have a thermostat in every room in your house, we announced our smart light switches today. And the idea is exactly the same. It's a Wi-Fi connected light switch. You can control it through your smartphone. It has temperature and occupancy detection in it, so it'll work with your thermostat to make you comfortable in the rooms that you have light switches in. But it also has Amazon Alexa built in, and so if you put one in your bedroom or in your kids' rooms, you have all the same access to all those great internet features, and just really exciting.
Is this independent of owning an Echo?
Yeah, so clearly Echo and Amazon Dots have been hugely successful, so you can have those that'll work with those devices in your home, but it's like having a thermostat with an Amazon Dot built right into it, or a light switch with an Amazon Dot integrated right into it.
Now, is that what you imagined when you opened up Amazon Voice Services? They'd be kicking Echoes out of the house, Steve?
It is what we imagine. We have this vision of Alexa everywhere, and I thought maybe I'd just go into a little of the background of how we got here with Alexa. So, Amazon, we have this doc writing process, written documents. It's how we start off all of our meetings, and even if it's a new product idea. And so, well over 4 years ago, there was a doc review, and there's literally 2 sentences in the doc that kind of went like, what if we built the next Star Trek computer, or the Star Trek computer? And that ended up being the inspiration, what is now today Alexa and the Echo product lines. And so at that time, a lot of this invention wasn't in place. So, if you think about the Echo hardware or the ecobee thermostat, there's a lot of technology in the device that gets the sound. It's always ready to hear this one word, Alexa, to wake it up, listen to what's said, and then send that out in the cloud. So there's a lot of invention in the device itself over the last several years, as well as building this artificial intelligence that's out in the cloud. And a lot of things came together over this time. People have been working on voice and artificial intelligence for decades, but it was really the kind of perfect storm of AWS with unlimited compute out in the cloud, machine learning and deep learning, to really bring these systems together. And so November 2014, we launched Echo. Wasn't sure how it was going to go, and customer response was really positive. It started off in an invite-only, preview to get the devices, and then we opened it up, and then as we thought about voice and how it can control technology, we believe it's a significant new interface that humans will use. It's very convenient, and it makes hard things simple, such as changing the temperature in your house just by speaking. And so, as we thought about that, we also opened up the service to third-party developers to do two things. One, help Alexa get smarter. So we have this concept of developers building what we call skills. And so anyone can build a skill to increase the capabilities of Alexa, whether it's, Oprah just launched a new skill a couple weeks ago. There's a Shark Week skill. You can get pizza delivered, as well as a smart home area, which we think voice is going to play a significant role in going forward. It just, for us, makes perfect sense. And so developer interest and feedback's been tremendous. We have tens of thousands of developers building on the platform. But then we also opened up another set of developer programming interfaces, which is what Stewart's company uses to embed Alexa right into their device that you could be for. And so we have this vision of Alexa everywhere. We can't do it all ourselves. There's no way we're going to build every smart home device and every wearable and automobiles. We don't build automobiles today.
Yet.
Yeah, I didn't say that. And so that we opened that up, and now we have companies like Ecobee embedding Alexa into their own products, which we're thrilled with.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's so exciting is just where the technology's gone, right? And that it's so good now. And I think that's something that's really changed in the last, call it year or 18 months, to a point where, customers, it's really, really usable. It's really a different way of interfacing. It's simple, it's easy, it's frictionless. And in our field trials, what was really interesting is our Net Promoter Score on our field trials was 80, which is truly phenomenal. And I think it's a testament to just how far the technology has come over the last, call it 24 months.
Had you had a vision of voice as an ideal input, for connected homes prior to the Alexa integration, or was that the thing that made you go, okay, this is how we can use it?
I think we always had a vision for, how do we make our customers' lives simpler and better. That's really what we're thinking about. I think, with what Amazon has done, the availability of the Alexa voice services really changed the game, right? And I think we've been working on this for about 2 years now. It was a big part of our roadmap starting about 2 years from now, and there's a lot of effort that goes into making a great far-field voice experience. And so it's just exciting to see it come to fruition today.
And Steve, was that always part of the plan? People like me are always looking for a secret takeover plan. Was it always part of the plan for you to build out Alexa as a platform, or were you like, hey, this is really good, we could take over the world with this?
Yeah, Molly, it's a great question. It's, the way Amazon looks at a lot of things we do, we like to open it up and see what the community do to surprise us. And if you go back, I worked in AWS for 5 years when I started. In AWS, which is our cloud computing business, that was born because we felt we got really good at building our own infrastructure, scaling it, making it easy for development teams to build on it without being tied together. And so we opened that platform up, that offering up, and it's become a pretty decent sized business for us. And so we view Alexa the same way. Again, if you believe voice, which we do, is going to be a significant new interface, and if you look back, there was mainframes and green dumb terminals and keyboards, and unfortunately I'm old enough to have done email that way, and then that transitioned to PCs and laptops with mouses where you pointed and clicked, and then our mobile phones where you have the touch interface, and now we believe the next big phase is voice. And we're investing heavily in it. We have thousands of people now working on Alexa, and if you believe all that, again, we love to open these things up. They're going to be one of the best companies at building thermostats. We're working with
the best. You got that right.
The best.
The best. Thank you.
We're working with Ford and VW to put Alexa into their automobiles. Appliances in the kitchen from LG and GE's building skills, and everything from door locks to sprinklers to garage door openers. And we just think it's the best way to go is to open it up, let other people build Alexa into their platforms. And by the way, we've spent years of this and have thousands of people. It's not, we have hiring data scientists
really
and speech scientists, thousands.
Thousands of people. Wow.
Yeah. And so I don't think Stuart would want to build his own AI. So again, it's let us do what we do best. We open it up and then watch the innovation that occurs with in collaborations like Ecobee.
And Stuart, I feel like it's a benefit, of course, to have this already built for you and have this great infrastructure built for you. It also gives a lot of power to Amazon. What are the potential pitfalls of being dependent? And this is a question I think everybody in the tech industry is asking about every platform, right? What are the potential pitfalls of being dependent on someone else's platform?
And I can hear you, by the way.
He's right there, but just don't look at him. Just eyes on me, Stuart.
I mean, I think anytime you partner, you have to have trust in your partner that they're going to deliver. And I think to Steve's point about focus, implementing far-field voice, the natural language processing backend, the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, that kind of stuff that goes into building that is super, super important. But there are all kinds of other things that are important to making a great consumer experience in your home. And so, the things that we're focusing on are really around, how do we create those great consumer experiences in your home? How do our devices work better together? Just like where the smartphone was, when we went from feature phones to smartphones, and your phone all of a sudden became much more than a phone and maybe a crappy camera. It had an awesome camera, it had a GPS, it had an accelerometer, it was a game console, it was like a navigator, it was like all those different things. The same thing is true with your connected home products. And so if you look at the light switch that we announced, for example, it detects motion and occupancy. And so it will be able to act like one of our room sensors. So it'll make you actually comfortable in the rooms that you have. And once you put a CPU on someone's wall, the incremental cost of adding a sensor is very low. And so what you're going to see is a proliferation of devices with more and more intelligence in them that can do more things for you that will make your life simpler and better. And that's really where we're focused in how we can really improve that consumer experience. And then relying on partners, and as Steve said, they've got thousands of people working on natural language understanding. Like, we're not going to out Amazon or out Google. We have to win, with a different strategy, which is what we're really focused on.
So you're saying the products are great even without? Like, if Alexa's down for a day, they'll still be great products.
Yeah, I think,
Not that would ever happen.
Yeah, that would never happen. I mean,
Steve's like, what did you hear?
I'm like, wait.
Yeah, I mean, I think all our products are built with this sort of idea in the back of our heads that if the world goes to hell in a handbasket, you don't want to freeze, right? And so, and especially, if you live in a climate that is quite severe, you understand like the pain that you go through when stuff doesn't work, right? Yeah. There was an ice storm in Toronto, and there was no power for 3 days. You're highly sensitive to what happens if your device goes out. So all our devices are designed to work standalone without internet connectivity or whatever, but they work much better if you have internet connectivity, access to Alexa.
What is one thing, and then I'm going to come back to Steve, but while you have him right here, what is one thing that you wish Alexa could do that it currently cannot do?
Get my kids to take out the garbage.
Cop out.
You know what? I think it's one of the exciting things about the product category is that all of the devices are fully upgradable. So if you opened up one of our thermostats, or you opened up the light switch that we're launching, it would look much more like your smartphone than a typical programmable thermostat. And the result of that is we can add features over time. So we have a really great product roadmap. I know Amazon is working on a bunch of things, and the really nice thing is consumers get access to that technology as it becomes available. So for example, if you bought an Ecobee Smart Thermostat back in 2009 when we launched our very first product, it works with Amazon Echo today. And similarly, we just launched Ecobee 3 Lite. We just upgraded it. If you bought an Ecobee 3 Lite 6 months ago, it now works with room sensors. And so one of the great things about this technology is that over time it just gets better and better.
Steve, how big of thousands of people is a pretty big initiative on Alexa. Yeah. How big of an initiative is Alexa voice services? Like, is it now, or do you think it will become a significant revenue stream for you?
We do think it'll become a significant business. Just in terms of interest we've seen with partners like Ecobee, and we were at CES last year in between Skills and partners announcing AVS integrations. I think we had over 40 announcements at CES. And again, everything from Huawei on mobile handsets to Ford and VW, which I mentioned, other smart home providers. And so, if you believe voice will be this significant interface, I think every company out there, well, not every company, but many companies in the smart home space, automobile manufacturers, everyone's trying to figure out today where is voice in their strategy. And so we're in a lot of early discussions with companies as they're ideating what to do next and how to integrate voice with their products. And we're investing quite well in this area of the Alexa family as well.
Yeah, I would argue, I think I even wrote a blog post saying that Amazon won CES in terms of those. How far out ahead are you of the competition? We were just talking about what Google has announced in terms of voice-based APIs, and it sounds like they're, pretty far behind you, and I don't think that HomeKit doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So
we're actually pleased to see other folks entering the space because we think it's good for customers. We launched in 2014, opened up in 2015, and our job number one is to listen to customers, listen to companies we're working with, and execute and innovate as quickly as we can on their behalf. And so that's why I think you see the companies investing so much in this area right now.
So let's turn to the consumer experience because, of course, the unavoidable question that everyone has. I have noticed, for example, that my cleaning lady mutes my Echo every time she comes into my house, which I think is fascinating. I don't know if it's like by accident or if she's doing it on purpose. But if she's doing it on purpose, it speaks to a real consumer question, which is what are the pitfalls of having an always-on, always-listening device in your house? Do you feel like you've how do you address that, for one?
Well,
and then we'll ask Stuart the same question.
Yeah, we do get this question. Stuart can answer from his side, but we do get this question a lot. And as you think back more than 4 years ago when we started off building this product, we always set what we call tenets for how we're going to proceed. And security and privacy for us are the most important tenets for this product line. Like Stuart said, if we aren't perfect and the best we can be in those areas, we really have no business. And so we have we have an internal security team. Even when we build our own APIs that we expose, it goes through an entire security review. We use security protocols, best practices from other parts of the company like AWS. It has built a multi-billion-dollar business on opening up developer APIs where other companies run their entire business on the AWS cloud. And then even when we work with partners, and we're in close collaboration with the Ecobee team, when they're ready and they have their device, we help certify it and bring it in-house and do more security reviews. So utmost important to us. A little bit just how the device works. I'll talk from the Echo perspective. How many people own Echoes out there? All right, that's pretty good. Thank you. So for those of you that don't, it's a cone-shaped speaker, and it's always ready, waiting for this one word that wakes it up, and it starts recording. And that word is Alexa, but you can change it to a couple other words. And when it's woken up, a blue light comes on, and that's the only time the device is actually recording. And then that speech is sent out to the cloud for natural language understanding and processing, and with super low latency comes back and sets your temperature, plays music, tells you the weather. And so and then when the blue light's not on, it's not recording. And all that is in control of the customer. They can delete all those, we call them utterances, but what you say to Alexa, you can go in and delete those. You can delete them all. You can delete them by sentence by sentence. So you're in complete control of the data that's captured by us, but it's also in your Alexa app. You can see exactly what's been recorded. And then when you hit the red light, electrically the microphones are disconnected, so the device is just not working at that point.
How can we know that? Like, have you put the certification process out for peer review at all? I feel like a lot of companies, especially now, right? Every company is saying that privacy is really important to them and that they're taking the utmost precautions. But it's rare that we can see that. Like, how can we know that, especially as voice becomes... And look, I live my life on voice. I dictate every text. I hit the microphone button to do every single email. Like, somebody for sure knows everything I say all the time and how I say it. But I really want to know, as it proliferates, you know, can you prove it to us?
Pardon?
Can you prove it to us?
We don't test it externally. I don't think we've had incidents where this has been an issue. I will say, Amazon is kind of, not the answer you're looking for, but we're one of the most trusted companies out there by surveys and polls. And we have a lot of customer data of shopping, and we have company data on AWS, and we just take it so seriously at the highest level of our company, all the way down. Maybe
Is this something you hear from consumers, Stuart? How do you address this?
Yeah, definitely we hear it from consumers. I mean, we see ourselves as guests in your home, right? And so, like any guest, we're not going to be in your home if we don't behave well. And so thinking about security from the very beginning is super important for us, and it's everything about our brand, and we know that if we did have a security breach, we would have no business. And so it's in the forefront of our mind. That's the first thing. I think the second thing that's good news is there's a lot of industry best practices that are out there, so we don't have to create everything from the ground up. When you look at attacking a thermostat as an example versus attacking your bank account is probably a better target. And so we can take technologies that are available in other industries and we can use them to protect products like our connected home products. And so, we use things like public key certificates and encryption. We use those best practices. We actually do send out our devices to third parties to get them tested, to look for vulnerabilities and those types of things. We have a security team. And so I think, as Steve said, I think it's such an important part of our business that we're very focused on it. I'd say, there's definitely a group of companies that would be similar, right? I think our concern is more, that you get a cheap knockoff, let's say, where they haven't thought about security. And so, for example, there was the issue with the bots and the security cameras that weren't protected, that had weak passwords, right? I don't think that any high quality product being released, in this day and age would have that vulnerability. And certainly not from one of the tier 1 companies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who in the audience has some sort of a smart home product, either hooked up to your Echo or otherwise? So fewer, but still some. What is the barrier? It seems like now we're basically at thermostats and lights. I did the TV thing. Alexa turns off and on my TV. My house sitter this week actually was like, "Why won't the TV come on?" You have to ask. You have to ask the machine to turn it on for you. But what are the barriers or what are the next steps? How do we move sort of beyond this product category to that vision of a whole voice-controlled home? Whole home voice, is that what you're calling it?
Whole home voice, yeah. I think I think consumers are on a journey. So one of the reasons thermostats sell really well is because the value proposition is really easy to understand. Mm-hmm. Looks way better than the old one I had. It's connected on my phone like everything else in my life. Probably pay for itself in about a year. Like, why wouldn't I, right? And so what we're seeing is consumers are buying a first connected home product, which is often a thermostat. And whether you read the reviews for us or Nest, people are getting good value, right? The consumer scores on those products are good and getting better, which means that as we move from an early adopter phase to a early majority phase, we're seeing that people continue to get value. So it's not just that early tech adopter. And once they have one product and they're like, wow, that was awesome, what next can I do? Then they add a second or third. And I think that's really where we are right now. And once they have 2, 3, 4 products, that's when the light bulb goes off and they start thinking about how do they all work together. And that's where I think the integrations that we're doing with our ecosystem partners, like Apple, like Samsung, like Amazon, obviously, can really change the way consumers interact with those devices and create that really magical experience. And there's nothing like walking into your home, into a dark home and saying, Alexa, turn on the lights, and the lights come on, or play my music, or whatever it is. Text mom, I'm home. Those are all wonderful, wonderful use cases that people love.
Steve, what do you worry about in terms of voice services being everywhere? Because let's say I buy a bunch of Ecobee products that have, this was, for example, the Android concern. people may start to have, maybe the lights don't come on. Not the Ecobee light bulbs, but maybe some other light bulbs with
Not
Alexa
ours, for
built
sure.
in don't come on. You know, to what extent do you start to bear brand responsibility for the way that other people integrate Alexa voice services?
Well, we, in all the smart home devices, we have a separate certification program so that
Right.
products go through and they're certified as works with Alexa. And we actually use third-party labs for that as well. And so we run them all through that. You know, I think overall, and also back to your question on ease of use, it's, you know, we're making it easier and easier to set up all the smart home devices, but, you know, to use another Amazon term, it's still day one. This was written about in Jeff Bezos' recent stockholder letter. The whole letter was about it's always day one. And it's so early on for us. And so we've been at this only a couple years now. We're listening to the companies we're working with as well as consumers. And I think you'll just see us continue to innovate and make it, you know, as dead simple as we can.
Yep.
Yeah.
It still is an ecosystem, right? It still is living within in the Amazon ecosystem. And I would say that probably the biggest question that people have about Alexa is why it can't answer more questions, right? Like why we are fond of saying in my family,
Yeah.
why doesn't Alexa have Google?
Yeah.
How is that awkwardness going to play out? Or is there
Well-
going to be some version? Could you get Bing? Like, could something come in to just?
Again, we have a dedicated team, so we have what we call our knowledge graph, and you know, we just keep adding to it. Every day, Alexa gets smarter, you know, through third-party developer skills, and a lot of skills have a lot of knowledge in those, but also just our core knowledge graph. You know, we just keep finding more and more data sources, adding to it. Every day she gets smarter. And so, you know, again, we've been at it a few years. We think over time, the knowledge graph will just get better and better, and we'll continue to add to it every day. That's another dedicated team, you know, a good-sized investment team that just does nothing but make sure she's answering questions that we're hearing.
Maybe like Yahoo?
Yeah.
Could just get Yahoo search. All right, I'll leave it alone. I had a whole. I was going somewhere with this. When do people? Oh, I tend to get a lot of emails. This occurred to me in the middle of our
Yeah.
question. It's a little bit out of left field, but I actually get a lot of email from people who are concerned about accessibility, and obviously, whole home voice has some accessibility concerns, whether you're deaf or speech impaired. Is that something you can deal with at all? Is it something that can be baked in? Is there ever going to be a physical interface that can solve accessibility concerns around voice?
Yeah, I mean, it's a multifaceted question, I think. So today, you know, if you're deaf or hearing impaired, there is screens involved with Alexa. So there's Fire TV, there's our own tablets, and so you're starting to see Alexa have this blend of what we call headless or just voice only, but also paired with a visual experience in some of our current products that are shipping. We've also been really pleasantly surprised. We don't have a initial focus on this area, but there's been other people with disabilities or handicaps that have fundamentally said this voice and echo have just changed their lives.
Right.
And we get emails come inbound just, you know, thanking us for all sorts of different scenarios where, you know, this one guy, he built dots and put them up in the ceiling as his brother's physically handicapped. And so that he fixed them to the ceiling in the light sockets in every room, changed his life. And so we just get a lot of those type of stories coming in. And so, you know, we have a team looking at it and see how we can be better in this area as well. But
Yeah.
it's been, you know, for some people it's been, you know, a big,
Transformative.
yeah.
Yeah, I
transformative.
would say it's really pushing the envelope the other way, right?
Yeah.
And so now you just have more choice. So if you're visually impaired, you can use voice. You know, if you're mobility impaired, you can use voice or you can use your phone. You know, if you're, you know, if you're deaf, for example, you know, you can use your phone. So you have many different ways of interacting with the device, which just makes it more accessible.
Steve Rabuchin, Stuart Lombard, thank you so much, guys.
Thanks,
I would
Molly.
have between 10 to 100 follow-up questions, and unfortunately, we have to go. Thank you so much for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.